Hello, football fans, and welcome to episode 33 of View from the Sideline podcast. Coming up in this week's Premier League review, we take a look back at Man City v Spurs Part 2, United's humiliation at Goodison Park, and did Burnley push the boundaries of football etiquette in getting a point at Stamford Bridge? It's been a busy weekend in the EFL, and we'll give you an update on all three divisions, with teams pushing closer to promotion and others getting dragged closer to relegation. Pete returns with another teaser, and records fall over the weekend in the Predictions Challenge. In part 2 this week, we look at the race for the top 4 places in the Premier League and which two teams will miss out on Champions League qualification next year. Lots to talk about this week, so let's get started.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 of View from the Sideline podcast. Chris here, and Rich is with me as well.
Good evening. How you doing, Chris?
Not too bad yourself?
Yeah, I'm slightly distracted. I do apologise because the Spurs are playing at the moment.
And obviously, after last week's Champions League game, I suppose you're still on a high from that as well.
Oh, a massive high. Yes, a massive high.
And kind of a favourable draw for you as well in the semi-finals out of the obviously 4 teams.
Yeah, any of the 4 can win it, I think. But it'd be good. 2 very close semi-finals, so I think that'll make for 2 great semi-finals and a great final.
So we'll go into Pete's teaser. I think it's just Pete's teaser now, isn't it? I think
It is.
He's claimed it.
He has well and truly taken over this segment. So this week's teaser from Pete, I don't know the answer. I have got an idea, but I've only just read it. So what he wants to know is which striker won the Golden Boot in the 1999-2000 season, scoring 30 Premier League goals, which sounds a lot.
Yeah, no,
I'm not sure how many have got 30 since. We might have to find that out. But yeah, so the 99-2000 season, who won the Golden Boot?
I just keep thinking Henry. I don't even think Henry was there. For some reason, Henry's just come straight into my head.
He's your default answer. With any record in the Premier League, he's your default. I've got an idea, but I will save it to the end. I'm not sure if it's right, but you never know. We could get one of these right, Chris.
Cool.
You never know.
I don't know why Henry's stuck in my head now. I can think it's Thierry Henry now. Ugh. Get out of my head.
If there was a question about like most penalty saves since the Premier League started, would you say Henry? Yeah, okay. As long as we're clear.
We'll move on to the Premier League review, and we'll start off with the Man City Tottenham game. In a repeat of the Champions League quarter-final. Unfortunately, the game I don't think was nowhere near the level of what we were given in the Champions League second leg game, which was 3 or 4 days before this game. But I don't think anyone really expected it to be at that same level. And both teams made a few changes to their teams as well, especially Tottenham. Is there a problem with Lloris, or was it just he chose Gazzaniga?
I just think it was purely around resting players. I think Pochettino's made it pretty clear that Lloris is still his number one.
Yeah.
Although recently, especially after the Liverpool game, that there was a lot of talk around Lloris, and there was quite a few fans voicing that they think Gazzaniga should be the number one. But I think it was no more than just resting players, and Lloris certainly wasn't the only one that was rested or started on the bench anyway. So I agree. I'm not sure how you describe Wednesday night. I don't think we'll go into too much detail on that because we'll be here all night. But I think obviously the fact that VAR is not involved in the Premier League this season, that sort of took away that element of it. Just with regards to the league game, obviously there was a Kyle Walker handball, which was a bit dubious. I mean, I think from my point of view, I'd probably say if you look at some of the handballs that have been given in recent weeks, then I'd probably say it was a handball, but it wasn't given. But I'll be completely honest with you, because we were playing City back to back, and I don't know why. Maybe just being a bit of a negative or realistic Spurs fan from history, I didn't think that we'd get anything from either game, to be honest. So the fact that we got something from the Champions League game and obviously progressed to the semi-final, rightly or wrongly, I didn't care what the score was on Saturday.
No.
As long as if we hadn't have got through this to the quarter final, I would have obviously wanted Spurs to win the league match because I'd wanted to get something out of it. But nothing I don't will compare to going through in that type of game with such a sort of topsy-turvy ending to it, that it was almost like just after the Lord Mayor's show, if you like, the league game, 1-0, pretty non-eventful. To be honest with you, when I looked at the teams and I saw that Vincent Janssen was on the bench, I kind of thought, oh, okay,
Did you rub your eyes?
So it's going to be one of the, and he's on the bench tonight as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to City. I mean, it was a close game. I think if anything, it sort of shows with the 3 games that Spurs have played against City, although they lost 2, obviously 2 in the Champions League, I think it shows that we can hold our own with them. And I think back to like playing Liverpool a few weeks ago, only losing 2-1 at Anfield, probably should have came away from that game with something. It's just the other teams we need to beat consistently, but a decent performance. But yeah, it was kind of...
It was a good game for 1-0.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad it was sort of the early kickoff. Then we could just sort of move on from the whole Man City Spurs thing. But
yeah,
they wanted the
good
3
win for
points
City,
more than
you know.
us. Yeah,
For them,
absolutely, yeah. And I think from a Liverpool fan's point of view, it was probably a possible banana skin for City, but I think it sort of went by pretty uneventfully and just pretty routine, really. Yeah. But
okay, so
it was all about Wednesday night.
We'll move on to the Bournemouth-Fulham game. Fulham leaving it a bit late to start winning these games. And obviously the only goal came from the penalty spot from Mitrovic, who's probably been their best player this season. So see if I don't think he'll stay, to be honest with you. I think another club will want him in the Premier League, but
I've read a few rumours through the week that there's quite a few clubs that are interested in him.
Maybe even one of the clubs that come up.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he's a good player. He's proved that he can get goals in the Premier League. I agree with you. Fulham, 2 wins in a row, no goals conceded, when sort of their defence was their worst part of the team. But it's one of those games, and there'll be a few now that I think we'll talk about, but they're almost like dead rubbers.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. It's almost like a pre-season friendly sort of feel. But
I think that's, you will get that this time of the season now, because obviously it's only really that last place in the relegation zone, and potentially obviously the top sort of 6 as well.
I know. The higher you finish up in the league, the more prize money you get, etc. But I mean, I'm not sure of the exact earnings by position. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought it's that much that's going to make a. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it might be like 500, 500,000 or something, which is a lot of money, an awful lot of money.
A lot of teams will just be grateful to still be in the Premier League. But
Bournemouth will be there next year. Fulham won't.
One team that's not as well is obviously Huddersfield. They took on Watford. I don't think Watford really had to get out of second gear in this game. It was pretty, it wasn't a very fast-paced game. But to be honest, I don't think really anyone would have expected much from Huddersfield. Obviously, they get a goal for the fans, but 3 points for Watford.
I agree with you. Watford have obviously probably got one eye on the cup final. I think what what is good with Watford at the moment is Deulofeu. I mean, he's shown what a quality player he is, and his first goal was superb. Just sort of like
Oh yeah,
no
yeah.
sort of backlift at all, and just sort of places it in off the post. I thought it was a great goal. But yeah,
I think out of
not a hugely entertaining game, and no real surprise with the result, I think.
but the West Ham Leicester game saw two teams that have probably had the most up and down results, I think, this season. West Ham, Leicester, and I'm not a huge fan of Leicester. After they equalised this game,
we'll go on to that in predictions.
yeah.
But there's one goal in here that stopped you smashing all sorts of records.
To be honest with you, with two teams that, like I said, have had up and down results the whole season, I think a draw is probably fair result in this one. And I saw Harvey Barnes scored his first goal for Leicester, but I also read that he's had the most shots without scoring a goal, or so it's something.
He was
like
on loan at Derby, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was he at Derby? Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like he's had the most shots on target without scoring a goal up until this weekend. It was something like that. So,
I mean, I know I put a score draw in the predictions, but I actually fancied Leicester to win that. I think the talking point in that one, I don't know what you think, Chris, but West Ham's the third goal that was disallowed. I mean, he was a good yard onside.
He was onside when Perez was definitely onside.
Yeah, so it's a bit. I mean, it just sort of shows how. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's close. It is close, and obviously we've got the benefit of various replays from various angles. But that's a goal that. And again, neither team's in. Sort of, they're not going down. They're not sort of getting into Europe, but I mean, it's still 3 points.
Quick question: so next season, the referee will allow him to actually say he puts the ball in the back of net. The referee will allow him to do that, won't they? And then bring it back.
I believe they will play on until, because I mean you couldn't stop the game with him one on one clean through. So I mean, how do you restart the game? But
exactly.
Yeah, the goal would either stand or it would be disallowed based on it. Almost removes the play to the whistle theory, doesn't it? You always get told playing football that you've got to play to the whistle, but now you kind of don't, because you just got to keep playing.
Just keep playing.
We'll see how that goes.
Wolves, Brighton. Obviously a good point for Brighton in this one. A clean sheet for them as well. Wolves have kind of gone off I see the boil slightly in the last sort of like 5 games. I don't know whether they're just a bit tired, maybe. Because obviously, without a shadow of doubt, they've had, out of all the teams in the league, they've probably had one of the most successful seasons, I would say, especially obviously coming up. I know they spent money in the summer, but still, I would say they've had a very, very good season.
Yeah, they probably have overperformed. I'm not sure how they didn't win that game. I mean, I hate to say it, but it seems to be following the same pattern as tonight. Spurs are absolutely battering Brighton, but still no breakthrough.
But they've been known for good performances like that, Brighton, in the past, like where they've managed to keep clean sheets.
I don't necessarily think that's their problem. I mean, this was their first point in their last 6 games, and they haven't scored in those 6 games. So, bearing in mind 20 minutes to go in tonight's game, they're 20 minutes off 7 goals, 7 games without a goal. Which it doesn't matter how good you are at the back. If you're not scoring, you're gonna be in trouble, even if you drew every game 0-0.
Maneuver scoring late goals, so I guarantee you now, by the end of this podcast, they would have won this game. There we go.
Well, I hope so. But I mean, that was just that's not a dead rubber game, but it's not one that's going to live long in the memory. But certainly a better point. Yeah, not mathematically, but I think if you look at Cardiff's I know we'll come on to Cardiff, but Cardiff's remaining fixtures aren't as bad as I thought they were originally.
I think they've played.
And if you look at Brighton's last 3, so I mean, let's whatever the outcome of tonight's result, if they win tonight, I think they are, but they've got Newcastle at home, Arsenal away, and Man City at home.
Yeah.
You could conceivably say that Brighton will take no points from their last 3 games, especially the way Newcastle are playing. So you just don't know. I don't. They're probably the favourites to stay up, but you never know, do you?
No, right. Newcastle. Obviously a great hat trick for Iosi Perez, who again I thought probably one of their better players this season. Also, a talking point in this one was Ward-Prowse. Do you think he should have been sent off for holding back the player when he's potentially through on goal?
Yes,
I
probably.
thought it was a red card. I thought he should have been sent off.
I think he probably should have. Really, I think you see that given as a red more often than not.
Yeah.
Um,
I just think
yeah,
he
I
should
don't
have been sent
know.
off. And
I think it's sort of after the event, isn't it? Really, I think
yeah.
it'd be much more of a talking point if Newcastle hadn't gone on to win.
So and Benitez after the game, he was very open in when one of the reporters asked him about his future at the club, and he didn't seem that sure. He was saying that obviously it's going to come down to what's going to be put on the table for transfer money. That was mentioned.
I don't know about that because I think he's leveraging for position just as much as the club are as a whole in trying to find a buyer. Benitez he's not gonna sort of come out and say what his actual plan is or that he's gonna go or he's gonna say, because it just doesn't work like that. He's, as much as he probably wants to stay, he's not going to come out and say it.
Well, I think deep down he does. He wants to stay deep down, but it's. I think he wants maybe some promises that he's going to get X amount of transfer money to spend, because he hasn't had a huge amount to spend this season, but then you got to think, if you've got a guy that wants to sell the club, he's not going to be pumping more money. And I think the best thing for them is that they find someone quick before.
I agree with you, but I mean, I think with the greatest of respect to Newcastle, they're probably not going to be challenging for titles and for FA Cups and that year in, year out. So I'm not sure where else Benitez goes that's going to offer him sort of a greater opportunity at winning things. And I think he's so well thought of at Newcastle, and the whole sleeping giant and whatever phrase you want to use for Newcastle, they have got potential. And if Ashley or whoever bought the club did invest and Benitez got the players in that he wants to, you never know. I mean, they're just as capable as a team like Wolves or Everton or Watford of challenging for the top 6.
I think
you just don't know. I think he'll stay for another year. Then I think next summer would be the sort of time that there's going to be a lot more speculation about him going.
Outside the top 6, I saw that Newcastle have got the most points since December outside of the top 6.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I heard the same thing. So
we'll move on to
just a word on Saints. It's probably worth saying. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do, but they've scored the quickest ever Premier League goal tonight.
Okay.
Shane Long. Yeah. Okay.
Everton, Man United. I couldn't quite believe how bad Man United were.
No, they were pretty terrible.
Attacking, it was all.
I'd get rid of the keeper.
It's just awful, and ever since they've given him this contract, he's lost like 6 out of 8 games, hasn't he? I saw at the weekend.
Yeah, I think it might even be out. I think it might even be out of 9. Yeah, I think it might be out of 9 games.
Take nothing away from Everton. They've beaten Man United 4 now. They've beaten Arsenal and Chelsea both at home as well. So,
this one is just so United had one shot on target. You've got people like Lukaku, Rashford, Martial, Pogba. I maybe even put Fred in there. I don't think he's the most prolific of midfielders when it comes to goal scoring, but one shot on target is just not acceptable. And I mean, the honeymoon period is well and truly over. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it was over before he was made permanent, to be honest. But the two teams involved in this game were are really interested to see what happens to them in the summer and next season. United mainly around what they're going to do with regards to transfers in and out. I mean,
I've seen
there's so many.
There could be a list of players that want to leave if they don't qualify for the
yeah,
Champions
absolutely.
League.
But there's also a list of players that apparently they want to get rid of. And then I've also read this week that they can get Gareth Bale on loan for about $5 million.
Yeah, so
and you kind of think, well, is he going to want to go there? I mean, or sit on the bench at Madrid?
They need to work the defence. That's where they need to be.
I can see De Gea going. I can honestly see De Gea going.
Do you think they'd go back in for Maguire?
Yeah, probably. But I mean, they were linked with every centre half, weren't they? I mean, Alderweireld still sort of. There's rumours going round about him going to United,
I've heard Arsenal as well.
I can't see him going to United. I actually think he might stay at Spurs. I think that he knows.
He's playing, isn't he? He's not.
Yeah, he is.
So there's no reason.
Yeah,
for him
he
not
is.
to
I don't know. It'll be really sort of people like Lindelof. I mean, he would have been first out the door sort of 6 months ago, but now he's probably their most improved player. I think.
Yeah.
Look, I think Pogba and De Gea are the biggest two. I mean, I can't see Rashford going. Martial's just signed a new deal. I can't honestly see Lukaku going. I think they've got a couple in midfield. I think Mata and Herrera, their contracts are up. Jones and Smalling, I mean,
just not.
I would literally pay for their taxi out of the club. I mean, I don't rate either of them, to be honest. But Everton, on the flip side, I know they spent a lot of money in the summer and they've hugely underachieved this year. But I just think that they're starting to show signs that they are a good side. They have got good players and they can beat these big teams. And I just think whether there's going to be more investment in the summer to try and move it to the next level, and it's how they perform on the back of that will be interesting.
He's like he creates so much. I mean, his goal was so good, and I thought to myself, you ain't going to beat that.
De Gea's got to save that.
Scored quite an impressive goal.
I think Digne's was better because of the technique. De Gea has got to save Sigurdsson's from that far out. It's not as if it flies in the top corner. He's got to do better with it, I think.
Well, disappointing if you're a Man United fan. But then obviously, 4-0, that's their heaviest defeat for 3 years. So we'll have to see where they pick up. Obviously, they've got Man City tomorrow night and then Chelsea on Sunday. So, they've got some tough games coming up. So
Spurs have just bought Vincent Janssen on.
There you go. Desperate time.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine if
No, Lucas. Can you imagine if he got the winner?
So you've got Janssen and Llorente playing up front.
That would be unbelievable. Just to give you a comprehension of this game. Spurs 78% possession, 26 attempts at goal. Brighton 2.
How many of those shots have been on target?
Yeah, we'll go past that. So Arsenal Palace. Chris,
okay,
Arsenal,
great game for the neutral. This one, and one that obviously Palace fans won't forget in a while. The main thing I took from this is Benteke's first goal for a year.
What a goal! 1-1 for Benteke.
Did you see who got the assist? Yes, it's our good friend Milivojevic.
Oh,
free kick.
And I bet it was going in till Benteke deflected it.
Yeah. Good boy. I just couldn't believe that was his first goal for a year, and then another rare goal from Mesut Ozil. He pops up one, and to be honest with you, the first half, it was all about the second half really, and I thought once Arsenal got the first goal, I thought they could probably go on now and get a couple more. But credit to Palace, they dug in deep and they didn't give up. Obviously, Zaha scoring the second, but a lot of hesitation from Arsenal at the back. I think a mix up between the defender and the keeper.
I would have had Arsenal to win that. The two things that I took from that is one is Zaha, and there's a lot of speculation about him. 80 million apparently you can have him for. So, but where's he going to go? Is sort of my question.
I know a different team every day. And I heard
but he's sort of come out, hasn't he, and said that he wants to play at the highest level, Champions League, etc., etc. So obviously you're limited by clubs, and I know we've said in the past that I can't see him at Liverpool, I can't see him at City. I don't think he'd go back to United, so it sort of leaves Spurs and maybe Chelsea.
I think he'd have to go abroad.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. And I'm not sure that they're going to get that sort of money for him.
It won't get that much. They'll get, I'd say, 50, pushing 60 maybe. I wouldn't say 80 at all. He's a good player.
He's highly priced for.
I never really understand where he should. I personally feel he should play out wide. I don't think he's an out and out striker. That obviously Palace have used him.
No, I think he's a wide man, but I can sort of see where they're coming from, because he is pretty much their club, isn't he? I mean, he is sort of their main player, but yeah, I'm not sure he's worth that. I mean, the other thing for me was Arsenal defensively. We can talk about it we'll probably say the same thing for every game until the end of the season. It's just it's not good enough, and Emery in the summer is going to have to do some business, I think.
I think he will. He looks like
to shore them up.
Let's see. I think they could probably get rid of literally their whole back four. To be honest with you.
I think the keepers. I think that Leno's been a bit.
I think them and Man United, they're going to be. I think they're going to be battling for the same players. I think because they both need defenders, and they're both going to be going for the sort of same type of defenders. So.
Yeah, but it all depends on where they finish, on what sort of player they're going to get. I think.
Yeah, someone could end up with a pretty good player there. So we'll move on to the Cardiff Liverpool game. I thought Liverpool actually struggled for quite, in stages of this game, and it was never a penalty. 100% never a penalty. Salah is becoming that sort of player that goes down very, very easily under the slightest of contact. I had a guy tweeting me earlier this week on Twitter saying that he thought Salah was player of the season or whatever, but I disagree totally. And then he gets a strop on because Milner takes the penalty. I understand he wants to win the Golden Boot, but in a game like that where Cardiff had a fair few good chances, Morrison especially should have scored from a corner where he actually managed to head the ball behind him instead of open.
Yeah, but what a defensive header that was. That was absolutely amazing.
Say Salah, Milner is obviously the first or second choice penalty taker. Imagine he lets Salah take it, Salah misses that, and then Cardiff go and score.
I mean, I think
he's got to understand it's not all about him.
No, it's not. But I mean, for me, Liverpool should have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's. But before the game, I mean, I thought it could possibly be a slip up. I thought it could be a game where sort of Cardiff take something. But fair play to Liverpool. I mean, it was a great first goal, but Mane missed some chances. Salah missed some chances on the penalty. I think it. I don't know. It was a strange one. I kind of thought it was a penalty, but I thought he was so dramatic about it. And I thought that if he wasn't as dramatic as he was, you probably. I don't know. It's a funny one. I can see why the ref gave it, but it was a. he was very dramatic about it. I mean, he was flinging his arms around like he was doing some sort of dance at a rave, and then he sort of went down. And I ignore anything about people getting stroppy about taking a penalty. It's all about the team, isn't it? It's about the team, and
that's what I mean. There's no point getting out. I remember when it happened to Chelsea once with Drogba and Lampard. Drogba, I think it was the day we beat Wigan 9-0 on the last day of the season. 8-0. It was 8-0, sorry. And Drogba was going for the golden boot. And Lampard took the Drogba ended up scoring a hat-trick anyway, so it didn't matter in the long run. But he got a strop on that day as well because he couldn't take it. But Lampard was always going to take the penalty. You've got each team has obviously a person that they trust, 2-3 people that they trust to take penalties. And Milner is a good hand. You know? Yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, they got the 3 points. I don't know what all the fuss is around really. But
Chelsea, Burnley.
I was going to say that the point sort of takes you out the top 4, but if Spurs fail to get a winner tonight, it may not be that bad a point. But I mean, we've spoken about this a little bit today. I'm of a different opinion of you, Chris, than you, Chris. I think that teams will employ those sort of tactics
from the 30th minute.
They've got what they need. But as I said earlier,
got booked in the 30th minute for time wasting.
But you were 2-1 up at one point, and the time wasting didn't
happen.
Wasn't the reason. Wasn't the reason that they equalised.
It wasn't, no. But from the 30th minute onward, they just
keep your lead. You should be beating teams like Burnley
all the time.
Chelsea needed to hold the lead. Oh, goal at Tottenham. Goal, Christian Eriksen. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, listeners. I'm a bit excited there.
I'll tell you what. So I'm having to talk about Chelsea, and now
I am now prepared to reveal to you how many shots on target Spurs have had. So 29 attempts, 5 on target. What a ratio! Sorry about that, Chris. I apologise.
I said to you that they end up winning this game. 89.
I apologise.
I apologise. All over this season.
4 wins out of 4 at the new stadium. No goals conceded. Champion 2019 Champions League winners. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. Sorry, Chris. You were saying about Chelsea drawing with Burnley.
Disgrace, really. Burnley. I didn't think the tactics were. Anyway, Chelsea didn't play that well anyway. But needless to say, it was 2-2. You know, I don't know. It's just been one of those seasons, really.
Just a question on that. Sorry, I must apologise about my exuberant celebration.
I've just sent a message by Lewis, who we work with, saying
Spurs are so lucky, I bet.
Spurs.
United fan, they're all getting a bit jealous. I must apologise. We've always had to think
about Spurs scoring late goals. Anyway,
I'm sorry, I must apologise. Just a very
obviously after Arsenal, United, and Tottenham all losing, that was 2 points that we've just put down the drain. To be completely honest with you, but I don't know why I expected anything different. Our defending at Slavia Prague was terrible second half. Literally, just every time the ball gets put in the box, there's no one defending the back post.
Just a question on this quickly, Chris. What needs to happen in the summer?
He needs to go.
Yeah,
manager. Okay. If he had a plan B, then I would probably say that he should stay. But it's just he just hasn't got. It's just.
I mean, I remember a few weeks ago you saying that you actually thought that Surrey ball was working.
That didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Short memory for Chelsea
it's worked
fans.
Perfectly in the Europa League, I must say. The Europa League group stages, it worked. An absolute treat.
Sorry, Chris. Goal at Vicarage Road. 1-1. So Saints are maybe back in. Maybe Saints aren't safe yet. Yeah. Okay, sorry, carry on.
I think he should go. I think Hazard will go, but I can't really blame him for wanting to leave, to be honest with you. He's done what he's needed to do at the club. He's won everything pretty much at the club. So
Big
yeah,
summer at
yeah, we'll have to see what the
Chelsea,
outcome is.
Arsenal,
See,
United. Then really.
as it stands, the transfer ban is still there, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Anyway,
Okay.
that's Premier League done. So we'll move on
Okay.
to the Championship, League One, and League Two.
Yep. So over the weekend, there's a lot of action in the EFL. Friday, Monday, really quite a lot of games over the weekend. So we're starting the Championship. So Norwich are still top despite drawing both games over the weekend. So it's now 4 draws in a row for them. Both games they played ended 2-2. They drew against Sheffield Wednesday on Friday and then Stoke on Monday. They're 3 points clear of Sheffield United, who have won their last 2. They beat Forest 2-0 and Hull 3-0. Both teams are on the verge of automatic promotion after Leeds, who are in third, lost both games over Easter. They lost 2-1 at home to Wigan, then 2-0 away at Brentford, which leaves them 3 points behind Sheffield United and 6 behind Norwich. So Norwich are pretty much, I think Norwich need another point and then they'll be guaranteed promotion. West Brom and Villa, they're both guaranteed a playoff place in 4th and 5th. Villa have now won their last 10 matches. Literally come from nowhere, Villa. Derby are up to 6th and they occupy the final playoff place. They beat QPR 2-0. Middlesbrough dropped to 7th after losing 3-0 at Forest. At the bottom, Bolton have joined Ipswich in having their relegation to League One confirmed. They lost both of their games over the weekend. Rotherham are in 22nd. They're now 3 points from safety. They also lost both games. Millwall in 21st managed to get 1 point. They drew 1-1 away at Sheffield United, which was a really good point in the end. So it looks as though it's between Rotherham and Millwall for the final relegation place, with Reading seemingly safe or 6 points clear of the drop zone with only 2 games left to play. So another point for them will secure their safety. In League One, Luton remain top. They beat Accrington 3-0 on Saturday, and that was after their first defeat in 28 games, I think it was, against Charlton. They're 2 points clear of Barnsley. They've won their last 3. But Luton do have a game in hand where 3 points will guarantee them automatic promotion. They're actually playing tonight. They're 2-1 up against Wimbledon. So I think if they win that, they will secure automatic promotion. Not the Championship, but they'll get promotion. Portsmouth are in third. They're 2 points behind Barnsley with a game in hand, having won their games at the weekend, and they have guaranteed a playoff place. Same applies for Sunderland. They have a game in hand, but 4 points behind Barnsley after taking 4 points in their last 2 games. Charlton are in 5th, and they're also guaranteed a playoff place, but automatic promotion is less likely for them. They've played the same amount of games as Barnsley in 2nd, but are 6 points behind. And the final playoff place looks like it's between Doncaster and Peterborough. Doncaster in 6th place on 69 points, but they are, just checking the score, they are losing tonight. They're losing 2-1 at home to Accrington. So Peterborough, if they win their game in hand, they'll go level on points. At the bottom, Bradford have been relegated to League One after a dreadful run of only 1 win in their last 14 games. So no real surprise they've gone down. The other 3 relegation places are still not confirmed, with the form of the teams at the bottom not making good reading. Walsall, Wimbledon and Scunthorpe make up the remaining 3 places, and none of them have picked up a victory in their last 3 matches. Only 5 points separate Walsall and Accrington in 18th with 2 games left to play. So it's 3 teams from a possible 6 who will be joining Bradford. So still really, really close. Yeah, I mean, there's so much Championship and like League One football over the weekend. It's sort of hard to squeeze it all in. But Spurs have won 1-0.
Yeah. So pretty much.
To give you.
Yeah, no, same for League Two. Obviously, there was 2 rounds of fixtures over the weekend. But despite a 0-0 draw with Tranmere, Lincoln have won the league, which has been coming literally for the past 2 months. Been by far the best team in that league this season. So, congratulations to them. But the other automatic places are still up for grabs. So Bury who were fourth, are now in second. They beat Northampton 3-1. They currently sit on 77 points. Mansfield down to third. They lost to Oldham 3-2. And MK Dons in fourth. They drew. Both are on 76 points. So still with an outside chance of top three, Forest Green beat Cambridge 2-1. Now only 3 points off third place with 2 games left to play. And Tranmere secured a playoff spot. They're in sixth after an impressive 0-0 draw with leaders Lincoln. So there is a fight for the last playoff place, which Exeter currently hold. So they drew 1-1 with Stevenage at the weekend. So they're on 66 points, but behind them, they've got Colchester, Carlisle, Stevenage, and Newport all on 64. So they're only 2 points off, and Newport actually have a game in hand as well. Their game in hand is against the team just below them, also on 62 points, Oldham. So yeah, you basically have 7 teams fighting for one spot, and that also includes Crewe, who are on 62 as well. So yeah, so you got 7 teams going for one spot. So it's going to be quite interesting there. So
I do love the end of the season.
Yeah.
In sort of the EFL leagues.
If that wasn't tense enough for those 7 teams, you've got 3 teams that just can't seem to shake each other off at the bottom of the league. So yesterday, they all matched each other again. So they all lost on Friday. Yesterday, they all drew. So it is as you were. Macclesfield just outside the relegation zone, 2 points ahead of Yeovil and Notts County. Yeovil did have a great opportunity yesterday against Colchester. Yeovil went 1-0 up, and Colchester had the goalkeeper sent off. But Colchester equalised towards the end of the game. So
are they still going down, Chris?
Yeah, we're running out of games, Rich. Yeah, and Yeovil have still got to play Bury as well. So obviously Bury are fighting to get that automatic promotion. So
Macclesfield are away to Port Vale.
Macclesfield have probably got. I think they've got Northampton on the last game of the season, so they've got 2 very winnable games there.
Yeah, 2 sides that aren't really playing for anything, are they?
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. So this weekend could be all over, because obviously if Macclesfield win and Yeovil lose, they will be going down. So yeah, interesting
tight
weekend
at the bottom.
this way. Yeah. So that was the EFL review. And that is it for part 1 of the podcast. We'll be back in part 2 with some news on predictions. We've got a special topic around the Champions League spots in the Premier League and who's going to get them. And we'll also try and get Pete's teaser. So we're back in part 2.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of View from the Sideline podcast. As we do every week, we're just going to kick off part 2 with a bit of an update on predictions, where we had a bit of a record last week, Chris, didn't we?
Tell him.
We had a record score, which was posted by our very own Chris. And you may have heard us mention earlier on, the late equaliser for Leicester also... Well, it took 10 points away from you, Chris. You could have absolutely smashed.
You got 45 points.
Yeah. So 30 being the highest that we've had so far this year with Jamie. Myself and Chris have had 30 before, but never above. So the highest ever score.
You can beat Jamie. Jamie's score is beatable.
It's
only taken me 36 attempts to do it. But...
You can. So Karen was our guest at the weekend. She got the Man City Spurs game spot on, which gave her the 10 points. This week we got Dave Herbert, who's a big Saints fan. So he's lots of Daves. So yeah, he's our guest this week. So the scores, the predictions are online, so you can
just quickly on predictions, we should be doing the draw this week for the two people that are going to get a second chance.
Yeah, so I think we've had 30. I think we've had nearly 40 people.
Yeah.
Take part, which is a lot. So obviously a huge thank you to everyone who has taken part, and you may get another go. You may get another go to try and topple the 30. Hopefully it's Adam, because he got
Adam,
0.
I think, is the only one, is he?
He is the only one to get 0. Yeah. So obviously weekend games. So once all over. So I think sort of Sunday afternoon we'll be posting the results to see how Dave gets on, and then there'll only be only one more round, and then we're into the two repeats, aren't we? I suppose.
We've
So
got one more person who we won't know, unfortunately, until next week. So
yes,
I will just put them in the draw, but they will be as unknown person.
yes.
TBA. You'll be classed as TBA.
Unfortunately.
So the person may get 2 goes in a row.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Yeah, that would be
anyway,
strange.
Special topic, Rick.
So yeah,
it's kind
top
of
4. I think
the
this
result
sort of
tonight's kind of killed it, because
but I do just think I'm just gonna. I know this isn't the topic, but I'm just gonna mention this very quickly, because I think the late equaliser for Watford tonight also. Saints winning, I think that would have sort of put them too far out of reach. Now, I know, as we said before, Cardiff probably are favourites to go down. So
Cardiff not going down.
but with the defeat, with the defeat, Brighton, they're still only 3 points ahead of Cardiff. Saints are now 6 points ahead with only 9 available. So all but being mathematically safe, I think Saints are okay. But just very quickly, Cardiff's next 3 games are Fulham away, Palace at home, United away. So United could have nothing to play for. So Fulham away and Palace at home are winnable games for Cardiff. Brighton, as we said, Newcastle, Arsenal and City. I think Cardiff have got an easier run in than Brighton.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And they've only got to make up 3 points. I mean, the goal difference is probably worth a point, so maybe it's 4 points. But just to put it out there from a relegation perspective, that late goal from Eriksen has sort of made both ends of the table a bit more interesting. But so as we stand, so I think 1 and 2 I think are pretty much sorted. We just don't know in which order.
It's just those last 2 spaces, isn't it?
Tomorrow night will go a long way for that, but that obviously includes United for their race for the top 4. So at the moment we've got Spurs in 3rd, played 35, 70 points. Chelsea are in 4th, played 35, 67 points. Arsenal are in 5th, played 34, 66 points. United are in 6th, played 34, 64 points. So I think both play tomorrow night. I think Arsenal and United both play. But so a win for both teams would push Chelsea down to 6th. A win for either of them would push Chelsea outside the top 4. But they all would have then played the same amount of games. And obviously now the Spurs game's over, it's probably a bit easier to say, but Spurs' remaining games are West Ham at home, Bournemouth away and Everton at home. And the two teams I'd feel a bit less confident about would be United, mainly because they've got to play City and Chelsea. But the fact that Chelsea have got to play United, they're the only 2 teams out of the top 6 that are actually going to play each other. So City, Chelsea and United. But if you're talking about the final 2 places for the top 4, I think it's only Arsenal and Spurs. I think have probably got the upper hand a bit now, especially with fixtures that are remaining.
It's just also all 4 teams have not played well this season. Now, when you compare it to how far the top 2 are ahead this season, it's just been one of those seasons where no one has really grabbed the bull by the horns, if you get what I mean, for 3rd and 4th place. You've seen it this weekend all four teams, none of them won. And
No,
it's kind
but
of been like that throughout the season. Like when one team has slipped up, the other teams just haven't taken full advantage of it.
no, but
But
I think that's a bit of a mixture, because I think you've got to look at who was playing who. I think
yeah,
when you look at to be honest, Arsenal and Chelsea should be winning the games that they've dropped points on over the weekend. Spurs away at City, Arsenal, United away at Everton. You probably understand it a little bit more. But I mean, I agree with you. They've been a lot less inconsistent than the top two. That's without a doubt.
yeah. It's but it's so hard to call out, and a lot from a Chelsea fan as well. We've still got to play Man United, Leicester, and Watford. Not the Watford game. Hopefully, they've got their eyes on something else at the moment. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
probably going to be the easier game of the lot. But
the two games tomorrow are going to go a long way to deciding this, because Arsenal away at Wolves, that's not an easy game.
Tough game, and obviously Man United as well. They've.
I think that I do think that if United don't take anything from tomorrow, I think they're pretty much done. I think that would leave them 6 points behind Spurs with only 3 games to play. One more win for Spurs, and United are out of the picture from Spurs' point of view. But then you come on to United Chelsea.
Such a big game,
it's going to be a huge game, and it's at Old Trafford, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a huge game. Defeat for Chelsea there, I mean, probably puts them out of it. Really, they need to win
with the same tactics that we did when we went to Liverpool the other day. He has to start a striker on Sunday.
Yeah,
he
that
has to start 100%. They have to go for that game. What if it means they concede 2 or 3 goals but score 4 goals? Who cares? Just go for it. We've got enough. At the end of the day, we have got something to lose. But if we lose on Sunday, that's it. That'll be.
Well, I think the race for the top 4 could be over. Chelsea United Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, Spurs at the early kickoff, the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. If they take 3 points from that leaves Chelsea 6 points behind. I mean, obviously, again, we always use the phrase mathematically, but it could.
Isn't it? 6 points is pretty at this stage of the season.
It could pretty much be over by Sunday night.
Well,
I mean,
if
Spurs win, Chelsea lose, 6 points behind, with 2 games to play. I mean, obviously, then you're in the realms of goal difference. So you almost think that if Chelsea if United lose tomorrow and Chelsea lose on Sunday, you probably think that Spurs have done it.
Yeah,
because even if we'd be 6 points ahead of Chelsea and 6 points ahead of United with 2 games to play. So you'd almost think that 3 points for Spurs on Saturday against West Ham at home is vital. I think if we get that, I think we'll be okay. It's just the other two. I think I'll say that I think it's going to be Spurs and Arsenal that get the 2 places.
I'm confident after obviously Tottenham winning tonight. I think Tottenham have got 3rd. I think if Man United lose tomorrow night, I'd say it probably whoever loses on Sunday will be completely out of it.
Can you imagine that?
And then there'll be 2 teams going for it. So I think Arsenal will have a very good chance of getting 4th.
I can see if Arsenal get something tomorrow, I can see them.
Yeah.
Leicester away, Brighton at home, Burnley away. I can see Arsenal winning all those if they need to. Well, I suppose we said that about Palace, but can you? Chelsea and United both missing out on Champions League football next year. two
we
clubs,
still have
two
the
clubs of
golden
that
ticket.
size.
Remember, we've still got Willy
Uh,
Wonka's golden ticket of the
yeah,
Europa
but
League. So
I'm gonna say it now. I'm going for Arsenal to win the Europa League
they
as
can't win
well.
everything, mate. They either get fourth or
They
they win
won't.
it. Don't be so
Well,
greedy.
you don't get anything for coming fourth. You don't win anything.
Yeah, but you
I
still
think
get
Arsenal. I think Arsenal will win the Europa League.
rubbish. So
Oh,
we have got a second chance. So that's our only.
will you come back next year to the podcast, Chris? If you don't win the Europa League and finish outside the top four, will you come back
No,
to the
I'll be on.
podcast
I'll
next
be
year?
on View from the Sideline EFL edition from next season.
Or will I have to find another co-host?
You can find someone who's got Champions League football, mate. I'm not talking about Champions League again if we're not in it.
That's Lewis out then. I bet he was really excited.
He's just messaging me again. He's just so jammy. Yeah,
Jealousy.
I think that the thing is, I don't want the players to have that in the back of their mind that they've got that second chance at qualifying for the Champions League through the Europa League.
You still got 3 games to play to win the Europa League, and who've you got semi-final? Frankfurt. I mean, they must be the highest placed team that you've actually played in this whole tournament. I mean, they look a decent. They look a decent side. I'm talking about a top European league, Chris. I'm not talking about like the Bulgarian Superliga or whatever.
Right. Second leg, they've got 3 goals against us.
Czech Republic's not known for its high level of club football, is it? And they still score 3 against you.
Belarus League, that's quite high, huh? No, Ukrainian League.
Well, yeah, okay, here we go. So again, Frankfurt are the sort of the best placed team that you've played.
Mate, if we lose to Frankfurt,
but they look decent. They look a decent side.
Mate, they've knocked into Milan out and Benfica, so they must have something. I'm gonna have to scout them. I'm gonna have to go out to Germany next weekend.
They look a decent side. They're fourth in the Bundesliga at the moment. So. A bit adrift of third,
same
but
position, so we're,
Yeah, well, I think I don't know. That's going to be a difficult game. I think you can't sort of necessarily say that it's going to be an easy ride.
Now for the rest of the season, he's gone.
Yeah, just to finish off the top 4, Chris. Just obviously, if we're saying that, I mean, Liverpool and City are obviously safe. Who's going to win it? Who's going to win the league? Man City to win the league.
Yes, and
so your top four in order now are
City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea.
I know you don't really think that. That's just your loyalty kicking in. Bottom 3. Who's going to be the third team to go down?
Cardiff.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm with you on the top 4, but I'm taking Chelsea out and putting Arsenal in.
Yeah.
And I do think Cardiff will go down, but I think it'll be closer.
I think it'll be closer than it'll be. I think Brighton will lose every game now until the end of the season.
I can see I can see Cardiff getting something away at Fulham, and I think Newcastle will beat Brighton. So I think sort of this time next week, I think they'll be level on points.
Going down on goal difference, that's not nice, though, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's still 2 games to go. But I mean, let's be honest. If you're level on points at the bottom and you're Brighton and you're playing Arsenal away and City at home, I mean, you could. Can you imagine if I don't know? Let's just say if the title race is still on, last game of the season, Brighton are going to have a real job on their hands to beat City if they're still playing to win the title. And if Cardiff only needed a point at United, who've got nothing to play for, you just never know, do you? You never know. So it will be interesting.
So yeah.
Okay, so top 4. How exciting! Live action on tonight's podcast, which changed the sort of debate. Really, we had a special topic. If Spurs had dropped points, that would have been a different conversation. So
Teaser
teaser.
answer. It's not Henri, but I can't think of anyone else. Now I've got Michael Owen stuck in my head. I don't know
Have you
what
got your search engine ready?
yeah.
I think it's Kevin Phillips.
Kevin Phillips.
Yeah, when he was at Sunderland.
Yeah, but
That's who I'm going for.
Pete's a bit out there, isn't he, with his questions. So what was it? 99.
99, 2000. I'm going for, and to be honest with you, I think that may be the last time someone got 30 league goals.
You're right.
Was it Kevin Phillips?
Kevin Phillips, yeah.
Am I right on the second part? I think.
Oh, can't go through each.
I
Thierry
think
Henry was on there. He was 6.
I think
Chris
he
Armstrong was on there, Rich. Yeah.
What, when he was playing for Spurs?
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure Kevin Phillips was the last player to get 30 league goals.
All right, so that is it for this week. Anything else, Rich?
No, all from me.
Yeah, all from me as well. So we'll see you next week.